Добрый день, коллеги.
And a very good day to you, colleagues. A very good day to everyone here at the Grand Arena, and welcome everyone who is watching us online, everyone who will be watching us later as a recorded session. Today we will talk about a topic that is quite complicated, the future of a cyber leader, the person who in a company is responsible for cyber resilience, cyber security, for all these topics and matters that often are not perceived very well by top management, because if everything works fine, security is invisible. And this is what we wanted to discuss today, and the first question I wanted to address to the panel, and I'd like to invite everyone, starting with Tushar, to answer the following question. CISO, today, should they be business leaders rather than technical leaders? Because historically, the idea was that security specialists are technical guys, and then compliance came around, and we all have to be compliant. But what about the business component? Should CISO be business leaders, like today and tomorrow? CISO, is this a business or a technical guy?
Can you microphone? Yeah. No. Can you take mic? Yeah.
Thanks, Alexei. A CISO these days have to be absolutely business aligned. In fact, they don't really call them CISOs anymore. It is Business Information Security Officer. It's really important to be able to speak business language. The role has changed from somebody who would patch vulnerabilities to somebody who would work closely with business and explain, be able to explain the issues that you will face in terms of risk. And it is really important to be able to speak the business language, stuff like risk quantification, the probability of an impact occurring, and how it will impact the business decisions.
Спасибо, Ahmad.
Thank you, Ahmad. The same question goes to you, especially with respect to finance, as applied to finance. Regulation matters a lot, and compliance matters a lot in the field of finance. Do you think that too much attention is put on compliance? Should CISO be responsible for business solutions, for business decisions?
Okay, yes, he is leader because he is connection with board of director and reporting for board of director. And he is a level up of IT technician and IT infrastructure. So he is leader for all services and how to government for and compliance and all compliance for all requirement for BMA or for strategy, and he is responsible for strategic for all bank and policies. So he is a leader for anything have to in the company.
Спасибо. Мичель, вопрос к вам. Вот насколько поменялась роль ЦИСа за последние 3-5 лет? Что появилось нового в вашей роли, например?
Muchas gracias. A ver, hoy los retos con respecto a la ciberseguridad, de lo que puede tener un CISO dentro de una organización de telecomunicaciones como es la que represento, va asociado desde un lenguaje un poco más asociado y apegado a los negocios que le permitan a los líderes de la empresa entender los riesgos que tiene la ciberseguridad. También está asociado a las nuevas tendencias de inteligencia artificial, que viene dando dos aspectos importantes, tanto beneficios como desventajas. Primero, principalmente los beneficios nos va a permitir hacer análisis mucho más proactivos ante amenazas y analizar grandes
Related skills, and CISO should be capable of in-depth risk analysis
que su análisis sea más certero.
to detect
Las principales desventajas que nos trae como reto de estas tecnologías
potential threats.
van a tener estas tecnologías para hacer marketing
Another challenge
sofisticado, ingeniería social.
That CISOs face is, again, to keep learning all the time, to be informed about the latest technologies, most advanced technologies, never to stop learning, to be aware of the threats that advanced technologies pose. We are in a constant learning position, and CISOs should know how to recover a company in case of a threat or an attack. Whatever the company's size, small or large, every company is susceptible to threats. The current spectrum of threats is very wide, and we should ensure cybersecurity. If we were to combine these two questions, what changed in the last 3-5 years in the work of a CISO? Today, a CISO, again, is this a technical guy and responding to, I don't know, regular security person, or responding to the IT director, a CIO, or CISO is now on par with other executives on the company. Has it already happened? Is it going to happen in several years' time? When will CISO take a seat at the same table with the big boys and the big girls who are responsible for distributing resources of the company? Well, I believe that this future is here and now, at least to a degree. One of the key drivers in the development of cybersecurity in the recent years was the government, because of certain risks, at least here in Russia. And now there is regulation that applies especially to the companies within the domain of critical infrastructure. So there is regulation, there are requirements towards the people who fill in the positions of information security officers. There are requirements in terms of whether they should sit or not sit on the boards. But it's a trend. It's definitely a trend. And I'm absolutely convinced that in coming years, one of the key drivers in the development of cybersecurity will be the state, because of the times in which we live. Probably Russia is slightly ahead of other jurisdictions in this respect, and the colleagues elsewhere will have to face that sooner rather than later. And this means that a CISO cannot be just a technical guy anymore. A CISO needs to be aware of the market movements, where the business is going, what risks exist, say, on the part or that are generated by new regulations or new geopolitical environment. So it's something that we had to face quite recently. In 2021, we all were thinking about what we would be doing if root certificates would be revoked or our apps will be removed from the stores. And many people smiled when we talked about that. But then all these things happened. You know, today the role of CISO is already quite pronounced. It's quite substantial. In the future, it will grow. Business will have to align itself with CISO, and just being a technical guy, you can't manage things you don't understand. Without business knowledge, you will not be able to participate in these processes. So again, CISOs will have to learn about the market, about the trends, about business communication things. Okay, thank you very much, Anastasia. The same question to you. Changes in CISO functionality in the last 3-5 years. Are CISOs about technology, or are CISOs about business today? Well, there is certain change, and we have gathered here people from big companies. I represent not a very big company, and at least to me, it is quite evident that CISOs as a business position, they are here. And I think that this is an executive position. And of course, technology matters. It's very important. The workflow, the process, the CISO has to understand what CISO manages. I agree totally with what colleagues said. But in terms of risk and strategy management, I'd say CISO needs to be a visionary. Visionary not only in terms of where the market is evolving, but visionary in terms of what risks might emerge. We have now all encountered geopolitical risks. artificial intelligence, quantum computing. Where else? I mean, what else may emerge tomorrow? What should be within the field of vision of a modern CISO?
Вот, коллеги, у меня будет такой
Thank
непростой
you.
вопрос.
Colleagues, I have another question to you.
Сегодня вы
You may
столкнулись,
find
ну,
it
в первую
quite
очередь, как бы наши зарубежные коллеги, с тем, что
complicated.
охрана,
At least our international guests
потому что у вас
had the experience of not being led by the security guys into the speaker room because you had the badges of the wrong color. Last year, the security people here followed our instructions, and they would only admit people whose badge said organizer, but actually, or other stuff, right? But they wanted the badges to read organizer, not staff. You know, again, security
синдрома охранника.
and the syndrome of a guard, of a security guard,
Безопасник, человек, который отвечает за
should
безопасность, не быть тормозом, а
security be a brake, or should security be a transformer in a company? How can we make security people take responsibility for a company's resilience?
The analogy that is given is security is like brakes on a car and they allow you to go faster. I would say that that analogy needs to change in the recent times, that we are more like seat belts or traction control more than brakes. And not only that you allow people to go fast or slow down when you see an issue, you basically give your business the confidence to go ahead full steam.
Спасибо. Анастасия, вот, кстати, вопрос про тормоз.
Well, Anastasia, speaking about brakes, is security a brakes or is it a safety belt? In scooters, you also set a limit to the speed that the scooter can gain. How do you strike the balance between security and the comfort of the user? We would all love a ride overnight Moscow, for instance. Well, it's the same as with speed limits. First, you set a speed limit, and our users start complaining and asking questions in the media. As soon as you remove the speed limit, well, some people complain that the speed limit is too low, others complain that it's too high. It's the same with security. There is no universal balance that everyone will be happy with. There will always be someone not happy with how you arrange matters. I believe that we should be aspiring for acceptable security. There will always be people who will disagree with the current security policy of the company. Why can't I use my work computer to download a torrent? I understand, I'm simplifying things, but there is a limit, a threshold, and the CISO is always crossing the line. You go above it, your back office will attack you. You go below it, the whole office will attack you. Okay, Ahmad, the same question. How do you find the balance between restrictions and opportunities in business in terms of cybersecurity? Is this possible? Is this balance possible at all in the financial world?
In the first, CISO is regarding to risk management, and he is risk assessment and analysis for any risk will happen. And the aim of this risk register or risk assessment to mitigate any risk. Cyber will prevent cybersecurity team will prevent any service to stop or any service to down. We need to business quantity to all services and all system will no take down in the process. In the first aim of the operation, cybersecurity will cybersecurity and risk management have to lead the aims. PCP is good without any takedown for all operation and system. Okay.
Окей. Спасибо. Мичель, вопрос...
Okay, Michel, a question to you. Yevgeny mentioned that Russia is slightly ahead of other countries in terms of the impact that the government has on cybersecurity.
В Латинской Америке, вообще на Кубе,
In Latin America,
влияние
in
государства
Cuba,
на кибербезопасность велико.
how great is the influence of the government over cybersecurity?
Компания определять
Can companies independently decide on what to do and what not to do in terms of cybersecurity?
Hoy uno de los retos también muy fuertes que tenemos hoy es el personal preparado para determinar.
Well, indeed, this is another important question.
El personal juega un papel
We have
importante en la mitigación
trained specialists.
Uno de los retos que tiene hoy el CISO
All personnel is aware of the fact that they play a role and they should help the company avoid the risks and the threats. And the company implements all the latest security technologies. Our personnel and our team is a kind of a sponge that absorbs all the latest trends, all the innovative solutions. We develop ecosystems to ensure cybersecurity. We've got databases. We develop them ourselves, and they are very well protected. They're secure. And of course, we meet the requirements of the state. There are certain standards, there are certain norms and regulations that we must follow in case of data protection to the personal data protection in particular. We should be compliant, make adjustments when necessary. The systems must constantly be updated and brought in line with the regulatory requirements constantly. And our role, our function in the company is very important. In every company, in every country, cybersecurity and information security, that's critical infrastructure. It is always vulnerable regardless of the protection that you provide. We must secure personal data, and this requirement is set by the state. These requirements demands that we be trained, that we be professional, that we gain new skills, go through advanced training courses. Our customers must feel confident dealing with us.
Спасибо, спасибо. Ну вот, смотрите, у нас
Thank you very much.
упоминалось буквально вскользь и про квантовые технологии, про искусственный
We have already touched upon artificial intelligence and quantum computing.
технологии, а также, наверное, какие-то иные, и интернет вещей,
As a rule,
и
these technologies,
данные,
along with big data, IoT, decentralized systems, distributed ledger, Web3, usually they fall within the jurisdiction of digital transformation executives or some other department in the company, not information security department. Evgeny, if you are a CISO, if you are an information security officer, then should you, as a CISO, understand the objects that you are protecting? In the office, we know how to protect Linux, iOS, macOS, whatever. We know how to protect network equipment or web. And now there is this artificial intelligence, which is quite a special product. Weird data, weird models. coming from somewhere, the untrusted environment. We start building some business process on top of this weird solution. Start taking decisions. So is it the responsibility of information security people to be even ahead of digital transformers in the company, to be knowledgeable about these latest technologies? Should we be telling the business, yeah, that this is possible, but this we should probably delay with implementing it? Maybe we should first protect the Internet of Things, and let's do that first. So what's the role of state-of-the-art technologies in the world of CISO, in your world? Well, I don't want to be a brake on the car. So I need to be at least to a degree competent in these state-of-the-art technologies. You also said that there are, usually in the company, we've got data scientists, there are people who are responsible for a particular part of, I don't know, production in this company. You can't be competent in everything. You can't be competent in every aspect of a business operation. But you should try. And the only option that I see here is to be included into this process of innovations. So there is this visionary who comes and says, here are the processes, here are the new technologies, this is what we need to implement. And then you need to do your own analysis, your own investigation, because we will be responsible for securing all of that. You know, you need to be involved in these deployments. You need to be involved in planning a deployment. There will be a new ML. Okay, where they will run, what kind of data they will have access to. We will never be able to say it, on day zero, because we learn in the process, all of us. So we should be partners to all these people. Probably will never be visionaries ourselves, probably will never be headlighters of such innovations, but to be involved, to participate, to cling to every such project, it's our role, it's our task. Anastasia, did you want to add anything? Well, actually, yes, and I also wanted to look at this question from a different perspective. The team, because CISO is an executive, it's a managerial role. And of course, but the CISO can do very little without a team. And if on your team you've got people who are competent in ML or competent in other innovations, it's a good idea to be friends with these people. And you also asked us about what we are protecting, what we are securing. So there are two aspects of this. What we are securing ourselves against, what we are securing ourselves from, and what we are securing. It's a double-edged sword. So the technology is neither evil or good. It's how you apply it. Practice shows that the attacking side tends to be quick learners. They put latest technologies to use much faster. And we have ethical questions, we have security questions, we need to consider lots of different aspects. So the question is what we are protecting and what we are protecting from. And at Samarkand, your scooter, do you have antivirus? We've got IoT. We've got IoT. Okay, Tushar, the same question about security of artificial intelligence. Where should CISO start if the company decides to implement AI projects?
Certainly. So when we look at AI, for example, there are both sides who are using AI. Now, you look at Gen AI, for example, the attackers are using it to craft phishing mails that are more convincing. We used to train users that look for a salutation that is missed or something that is not correct in terms of grammar in an email. But that's not the case anymore. Everybody is using ChatGPT to form those phishing mails, and they are very well written. But this is not only one side. The security teams are also using generative AI tools. For example, we use generative AI tools to triage an incident much faster than we would otherwise if we were doing it manually. We also use generative AI to generate some creatives, marketing creatives that are consistent using Midjourney and the character consistency feature that Midjourney offers. So there are a lot of ways that in which you can really use Gen AI. Talking a little bit about how the cybersecurity teams can get involved in the early stages of anything that the bank or the organization is trying to do. There are two ways in which generally teams or cybersecurity teams get involved. One is at the end of it when the product is built, it is ready to go to market, and that point in time a risk assessment is done, and you suddenly have 15 risks that you start worrying about, and it is going to delay the launch of the product. In my opinion, a better way is to get involved since the beginning, since the drawing board stage. When it comes to you as an idea, it starts shaping as a business product so that you can bake security instead of bolting security afterwards once the product is built.
Спасибо большое. Ахмат, вот с
Thank you very much, Ahmad.
инновационными технологиями...
What are the innovative technologies in addition to artificial intelligence? Is your bank using or your bank has been considering in the past year? Have you yourselves assessed the risks of a particular novel technology in the past year?
Yes, today all systems have AI solution and AI features. It is very important today to think about AI, but have a risk when using AI. We will analysis for risk is regarding and with the AI solution or AI systems. But it is a part of the whole system today, and we will think about AI and put in strategic. Yes, I am with AI.
Спасибо. А вот смотрите, в принципе, наверное, вам сейчас...
Okay, thank you very much. And probably it is wrong to put this question to you right now, because you are the showcase of the answer to the question. But the question is, should CISOs today be public figures? Again, historically, the idea was that security should be kept silent, there should be hush-hush. We don't want hackers to learn about our security solutions. So security was always a rather closed topic. We didn't want to put it in the spotlight. And the same applied to CISOs, really. CISOs were never considered public figures. But what about now? Presentation skills, public speaking, is it critical for a modern-day CISO? Would you give modern CISOs any advice? For you, is this a necessity? Is this part of your role? Are you supposed, does the business think that you are supposed to represent the company inside and outside? Evgeny, let's start with you. This, the public role of a CISO, is this a norm? Well, I think that your question is linked to another one. Is cybersecurity a competitive advantage for modern-day companies? It's a question that we discussed in another session, but I am absolutely positive. I mean, I believe that today cybersecurity is the competitive advantage for any company. So in this context, the company needs to be able to display, to show to others that we are leaders in cybersecurity, and CISO is the person best suited to talk about cybersecurity. That person who knows how much the company invests, how much how we measure the risks, etc., etc. That's part of company strategy. If you raise the awareness of the users, if you train your users, you implement more and more services, you make declarations, give promises that you will protect the users, you will protect the data, you will ensure the high quality of your service. By doing all of this, you declare that you can and will sustain a certain maturity level of your cybersecurity, and CISO has no other option but to be the face of the company and talk on behalf of the company about the company's readiness to keep its promise. And maybe, yeah, you will have to disclose some incidents, stories at this conference and earlier conferences. We always keep discussing pen testing, cyber drills, cyber polygon, cyber ranges, and non-tolerable events. I mean, this for you is a competitive advantage. So to answer your question, yes, I believe that today a CISO should be the face of the company in terms of security, should be a good representative of the company to ensure a more confident position of the company in the market. Thank you. Mitchell. Another question. Before this panel discussion, there was a presentation on anti-crisis PR. A lady from the stage spoke about how a company should communicate to the world about the incidents that it experiences. So what should be the role of a CISO in taking the anti-crisis decisions to recognize, not to recognize the incident in the company as CISO? In this case, would you say that a CISO is the main person who decides on this matter, or a CISO is a consultant?
Hoy el papel del CISO dentro de una empresa de telecomunicaciones.
The role of the CISO in our company, and we are a telecom company, is quite comprehensive. So yes, we are involved in communication a lot. We provide explanations for the reasons, what caused the incident. We need to use normal, regular language, not very technical language, so that people, including the people in the management, would understand what happened, what's happening. We need to be able to communicate this to the top executives, to the regular personnel, to the, people in finance, what happened and why it happened. We prepare reports. Every attack, every incident can affect company's profitability. Company is looking at financial losses in the event of an incident. Some attacks are very long-lasting. Sometimes they can take years. And of course, every incident calls for a particular response. The response must be specific to the incident. And every time something happens, we inform the management, because the management needs to understand that its business may be vulnerable right now. And the same question about whether CISOs need to be public figures. When is the time for the CISO to appear in front of the external public? Not to stay closeted in their room, but to go out, to go to the street, to start speaking language that everyone understands. Top management, the society at large, people in the company, when is the right time? Well, actually, I can subscribe to what Evgeny said, and I agree with everything that Nika talked about in her presentation. In our case, the answer was quite clear. 1 year before our IPO, when the company becomes public, risk assessment changes. The role of CISO, well, not the role, but the way the CISO is represented, that changes. There are big changes in external communications. So if before IPO, PR people would address you maybe once every 6 months, oh, here's a paper that came out, can you explain to me what it says there? But now, the expectations of PR and of the whole company of CISO, they are totally different. And if there is an incident, Nika is right. If there is a technical report, then, I mean, if you have a technical blog, like a single source of truth, then there will be no misinterpretation, there will be no fake information. People will not have to imagine things about this incident, because here at conference like this, you have a lot of technical tracks where you discuss how you detect incidents, how you fix the incidents. But this is a good way to show to the world that the company is ready to work on the incidents. You can't have one algorithm that would fit all possible cases. Of course not. But CISO should be ready to speak out and to speak publicly. But of course, you have to speak publicly only after you have come to an agreement with your people inside the company, with your management. If you can explain to your own people in plain language what happened, then you can do the same for the whole world. Ahmad and Tushar, you work in finance, and finance is all about customer trust. If for whatever reasons a financial institution is affected by an incident, there is this inclination not to make the incident public, because this may undermine the trust. We may lose customers. The customers will withdraw the money, or there will be other damages for this financial institution. So, how do you take decisions whether to talk about the incident, if it really happened, or not to talk about the incident? Is there a practice, is there advice that you can share? Tushar, let's start with you.
Sure. So it's really important. The first thing that when a customer comes to you and decides that I want to park my hard-earned money with this particular bank, the relationship is not a business and a customer. The relationship is that of trust. So if you do not have trust on your bank, then probably you don't have that relationship. So it's really important that you have as much transparency in your relationship as possible. Now, when an incident happens, naturally there is a silver lining to the whole thing, in the sense that you have learned that something inside the organization can be broken, it is broken, and you know what that was, and you can fix it, and you can come out stronger. So it is absolutely, in my opinion, necessary to be transparent with all your stakeholders, not only customers, your management, your board, your stakeholders, to go back and tell them that this is what has happened, these are the actions that we have taken, and we are going to be coming out stronger than what we were before. That can be done in many ways. You can talk to your customers about how you're enhancing controls. Of course, you don't have to tell them about the brand new WAF that you're buying, but you need to give them the confidence that your money is still safe with us, and continue that trust. It is like you have a fabric and you have a tear in a fabric. You patch it so well that even if you pull it from both sides, you can't tear it again. So you use that as an opportunity to further and strengthen your bonds with your customers.
Спасибо большое. Ахмат, вот тот же вопрос. Как вы принимаете решение о том,
Ahmad, the same question to you. How do you decide whether to talk about attempts of fraud or risks or incidents in the bank, or not to talk about that? Keep it to yourselves.
CISO is responsible and rule to write and policy business quantity and disaster recovery plan and incident response in the company or in the organization. CISO will be documented all incident and analysis any incident happen and recommendation to mitigate and don't try again this incident. We can do corrective action plan to mitigate any risk. Will try again.
Спасибо. Коллеги, вот следующий вопрос,
Thank you.
он, наверное, будет...
Colleagues, my next question will not be about security.
Это сегодня человек...
Today, CISO is not just a business leader.
Человек, который понимает технологии.
CISO is not just a technical guy who understands technology.
Или психологию.
Together with the legal aspects and the psychology of his own team or the psychology of the criminal, What is the greatest skill outside of information security is fundamental for you, that helps you in your work?
Certainly. I
Tushar.
think the most important skill is communication. If you cannot explain an incident to your teenager, you probably can't explain it to your CEO. So as long as you are able to talk the business language, explain the impact of an incident or a risk in dollar value terms, there are tools that are available such as cyber risk quantification. As long as you're not really talking business language, you're not making sense to them. And you will never get a seat at the table where strategy discussions are happening. So if you really want to be part of that, I think the most important skill is communication. Because most CISOs in some cases, they choose to live in their technical world, enamored with their WAFs and DLPs and firewalls and everything. I think it's time that they need to get out, try to understand business, because there are a lot of advantages to be that way, you know. For example, you can really create strategic advantage for your business. And I would love to talk about one company that does this so well. And there are people who generally go and buy a Volvo car. And why Volvo? Because of safety. So that company does not probably make the longest lasting cars. They don't make the American muscle cars, but they have turned safety into a strategic advantage. Whenever you talk about Volvo, you think of safety. Yes, this car must be safe. And I think there is a real opportunity for an organization to stand there and say, we are providing you with the most secure product in the market. And I think that's a really good thing to hook on to, you know.
Спасибо. Ахмат.
Thank you very much. So, Ahmad, Tushar says that communication skills are an important skill for information security officer outside of information security proper. Beyond communication, what other skill is very important for you in your activity? A human skill.
Yes, because you are role and responsible for or a manager for projects lead to cybersecurity, and all parties and all department related for this project. So you are using communication skills to take all your process. And you are sharing awareness and culture for cybersecurity in your organization. But these skills help you to connect with the other parties related.
Спасибо. Мичель, тот же вопрос.
Thank you, Michelle. The same question to you. A skill that is not about information security, but that is very important for you. Not communication skills, but anything else. Any other skill, any other human skill.
Hoy una de las principales habilidades que puede tener es volver a explicar un incidente.
One of the most important skills is not to get tired explaining. You keep explaining, you keep offering arguments in favor of particular means of information security. Don't stop ever explaining. And of course, this also requires a communication skill. Because if there is an incident, communication is the priority. Thank you, Evgeny, Anastasia. So I was trying to ask colleagues, international colleagues, to name another skill that is not communication that helps them in their work as CISOs. What about you? What is the top skill, a strategic skill that is not a technical cybersecurity skill, and that is not communication? Well, look, everyone here says communication, and I will subscribe to that as well, because communication is such a wide notion, such a broad notion. It's very important to be patient, to know how to phrase things, So there is a reason why everyone mentions communication. Cyberbase is at the crossroads of legal and technology and business, and we are the unit to which people from all parts of the company come. And people in other parts of the company, they are also smart and they do their job. They have their position, they have their targets. Right. So sometimes it's very important to hear what they say, not only to listen, but to hear what they say, to marry all these different opinions and to produce a result out of many different, sometimes conflicting targets and priorities. But communication, I agree with colleagues, communication is the best skill that any CISO can have. Anastasia, anything to add? Or will you just agree with the other four colleagues? Well, yeah, because you keep insisting, and because I will be talking for an hour about communication, management skills. I'd say management skills. The management skills are often not very strong in people, even if they attended management classes. So the ability, the skill of setting the task, of giving a task, and then controlling the execution of the task, and controlling, I mean, maybe people need help. Maybe they are in a dead end. Maybe they are fighting and they can't extract themselves from this hole. So the management can always help and give a push or I'd say technical people, even when they take leading positions, they are very competent in technology, but they have no idea how to plan schedules, how to plan time, how to close projects, not only to initiate projects, but how to close, how to bring them to an end. So management skills is something that I believe will be very much in demand at all levels in the company, all the way to C-level. Thank you. Ahmad, a question to you. In your practice, are there any stereotypes about CISOs, myths that you would like to destroy? Any traits, stereotypical traits? Maybe it used to be true in the past, but now it's totally a stereotype.
I need to re-ask in English.
Do you know some stereotypes about CISO which you faced in your previous life?
Yeah.
What stereotypes?
I will think about this answer.
Okay. Tushar, может быть.
So stereotypes that I think generally when I meet up with people and they say, okay, you are from technology, and I sometimes have to tell them that, okay, it's not the same. You are basically calling a neurosurgeon a dentist. So we are technology in a sense, but we protect technology. So that's a different. So I think in a lot of people's mind who do not work very closely or understand cybersecurity, but cybersecurity is generally seen as the technology guy. And although we have the knowledge to be able to fix machines, we have that specialized knowledge to protect them from attackers. And that's I think is a stereotype that I come across pretty often.
Спасибо. Мичель, у вас есть вот какие-то...
Michelle, any stereotypes in your profession? You as a cybersecurity lead, have you faced any stereotyped attitude to your work?
It's a difficult question. Okay. Yeah. Do you have some stereotypes about your role as a CISO or not? Yes? Okay. Can you explain these stereotypes? No. Okay, okay. Евгений.
Okay, Evgeny.
Потому что такое впечатление, что
It looks like there aren't any stereotypes, there aren't any myths about CISO's work or CISO's profile.
история, что ЦИСО — это технарь,
Okay,
который умеет чинить Windows.
so we have heard one story of one kind of a stereotype. CISO is perceived as someone capable of fixing Windows.
который умеет чинить Windows.
Well, actually, the stereotype that I most frequently encounter is CISO is perceived as a dictator who interferes in everyone's work, messes around, you know.
Ты сталкиваешься с стереотипом, что безопасность...
Sometimes, but actually, no. I'd say that here,
которые в основном просто мешают всем.
information security people are often perceived not as technically capable people, but rather as nuisance, as someone who wouldn't let people work normally. But actually, we talked about how to build good relations with the business, but for us, actually, it proved to be very difficult to establish good contact with the technical people, the proper technical people in the organization. Because sometimes we would come to them with a question and they'll say, oh, I don't want to talk to you, you will never understand. But cybersecurity is not about technology, and it's an issue, especially in IT companies. It's this kind of attitude to information technology, information security. And we need to overcome that attitude. We are dependent on IT, on proper IT. Business is all very well, but we work with information systems. We do not develop them ourselves. We do not maintain them ourselves. We will never understand them as deeply as those people who built them and who are running them. But we have some technical knowledge. That's true. And we can protect their systems. And we are not a nuisance. So I'd say that the biggest stereotype that I encountered is that, people treat us as an interference. Okay, colleagues, we are supposed to round up this discussion. We've got 4 or 5 minutes left, and I wanted to ask each of you a question. Well, rather, it's a request. Can you send a message to the today's and tomorrow's leaders, cyber leaders? And maybe can you share with us one mistake from your practice, from your career? Because you are leaders in cybersecurity, right? And probably you have some mistakes in the past. So if there is a mistake that you would like to share with others so that people learn from your experience and do not commit the same mistake. Well, those wrapping up of the session minutes, they make me nervous. I'd suggest that learn how to talk to other people and make sure that you are heard yourselves. Learn to listen to others and make sure that you are heard yourself. As to a failure,
на тему того, что это будет человек, который погружен в бумажки и кроме бумажек ничего не видит.
I was afraid that my management, well, that instead of the manager with whom I worked, a new person would come, and this person will be either someone who would follow the rules unthinkingly, who would just follow the regulation. Okay. Michel, is there any advice that you can give to the audience, to the current or to the future CISOs? Any advice, any recommendation that you can give to the audience?
Hoy la rapidez con que va la tecnología pone un reto muy fuerte para el.
Well, you know, technology develops so rapidly and things change every minute. Cybersecurity requires constant monitoring.
en nuevos entornos.
We have already agreed that communication matters. So my recommendation would be to keep your competencies alive, keep training and retraining, keep learning, and make sure that people around you also learn constantly.
De emergencia que existe.
You have to always catch up with technologies, especially in my field, in telecom.
Hay tecnologías que vienen siendo obsoletas ya, pero que se siguen utilizando. Y
Technologies emerge so fast.
que aunque tiene que ir muy rápido en la
There are companies who are still working on outdated technology.
Importante que también tiene que
And we must convince the management that there is a need
Спасибо.
to update the technologies, replace them.
Можете дать действующим или будущим
What advice
киберлидерам,
can you give to the current or future leaders
опираясь на ваш опыт?
based on your experience?
What piece of advice you can give to audience based on your experience? In cybersecurity, yeah. Mic.
Oh, yes. Compliance for all regulation and international BCIs or standard. Yes.
Спасибо. Тушар.
Thank you very much. And Tushar, it's the same question, it's the last question. What advice can you give to the audience?
The advice that I would give is to get out of the shell, because I say this from my own experience. When I started with security, I was a guy that fell in love with my laptop and Kali Linux and all that. Till such time that I got married and my wife started telling me you should have married that laptop instead of me. So generally what starts happening is you are so in love with what you do, you tend to isolate yourself. You tend to create a category for yourself. You start living in that category and your small world. And that does not help. Very early in my career, I mean, I have been doing this for more than 20 years now. When I started, I had a ponytail. So yeah, so I'll say that it's really important to get out, meet with people, understand understand your business, because at the end of it, you are a support function for business. If your business, you exist because your business is there. So meet up with your business teams, understand what they are doing, understand how you can help. When the products are being built, get involved. Make sure that you're part of the drawing board, putting your controls out there when everything is getting mapped out. And I think that's the advice that I think I would love to give to new security leaders. Thank you.
Большое спасибо. И, Евгений, тоже совет для будущих нынешних CISO. И,
Thank you. Evgeny,
какую-нибудь ошибку,
an
которую...
advice to the future CISOs and any lessons learned from mistakes?
Определенного уже уровня,
Well,
он просто
CISO.
персонифицирует себе
Just like any
департаменты.
C-level executive personifies their department. And I think the most important thing we need to learn to work with is the understanding that
Доверять людям,
these people are your team.
подбирать
You
людей.
need to trust them, you need to delegate to them, you need to select them accordingly.
Либо много на себя берешь,
The biggest lessons that I have learned were
неправильно людей
you
подбираешь.
either
К сожалению или к счастью,
try to swallow more than you can chew, or
много вещей не
you really misselect your people.
И от того,
In
как
fact,
работает наша
the
команда,
CSO
как люди, как они
now
конструируют, как вы выстраиваете отношения,
is
как
a
вы
man of the team, and
результат.
your outcomes, your performance does depend on how you work with these people, how you communicate with them, how you talk to them, how you
И тогда,
listen to their needs, how you inspire them, motivate them, and so on. And if you're good at that, you really can achieve a lot as a CISO.
Коллеги, мы плавно подошли к
Thank you. And that brings us to the Wrapping up of our debate on what CISO 2.0 is about. CISOs will feature in several other debates, so stay tuned and connect to those discussions as they unroll. And I'd like to thank Dushar, Ahmad, Chen, Eugene, and Anastasia. Thank you very much. I hope it was interesting.